because of course this would happen. I thought I called it. And that's why I think the St. Louis couple put out a statement saying they supported the protesters. Now, apparently they may have walked things back a bit, but this was bound to happen either way. The initial statement that was let me stop there for a second. Remember the couple in St. Louis that came out with their guns, kind of holding them wrong, and the protesters were like, "We're peaceful protesters, man, on public sidewalks," and they weren't. They entered this private community. Some people broke this gate. The couple came out with guns, brandishing them. They're currently being investigated for a potential crime. Well, listen. Following this, the initial statement from this couple was that they have long fought for civil rights and supported the Black Lives Matter protest, and they knew the protests were coming, but people were threatening them, so they came out with their weapons. It's a BS statement. It's complete BS. Apparently, after this, the dude said they're Marxist, they're far left. I don't know exactly what his quote was, but he's been fairly critical. Well, I'll tell you what. They will come to your house. They will protest you again. Fortunately, this seems like sort of an escalation, but a kind of a de-escalation to where we were. Gun-toting St. Louis couple watch from balcony of their mansion as Black Lives Matter protesters return. But this time, they have security guards to protect them. You know what the point of this story is? They're talking about defunding the police, right? You know what's going to happen when they do? As we've mentioned over and over again, you get rid of the police, the rich people hire private security guards, and that's the end of it. They solved their problem. People showed up to their house. They said they expected them. They didn't. They had guns. The protesters got angry. Chaos, calamity. The press went nuts saying this evil couple lurking on their property to gun down innocent protesters. No. They were defending their property. Maybe they did a little poorly. Now they have private security to handle it for them. So if anything goes wrong, they can just blame the security company. And if you defund the police, this is what you will get. Rich people on their property surrounded by private cops, and you can do nothing. And the poor people won't have private security. They won't have police. And this is where things are funny, because the joke is eventually they'll say private security is not fair. We should have, security for all, private security for everyone. Taxpayers should pay for it. And then they will invent the police. That's what's going to happen. Check this out. Let me read you this story. Black Lives Matter protesters have returned to the mansion of the Missouri couple who last week drew guns on activists who broke into their gated community during a demonstration. Mark McCloskey, who is a prominent personal injury lawyer, has defended drawing his weapon, saying he thought death was coming through that gate. But on Friday, he and his wife were far more passive as hundreds of demonstrators returned to their upscale neighborhood to stage a protest outside their lavish home. The pair were seen tentatively peering out at a protest from the confines of their balcony in the presence of their attorney. And yes, private security guards. Demonstrators chanted and brandished placards outside the residence for around 15 minutes before moving on. Private security was seen pacing up and down the balcony while keeping a watchful eye on the crowd. It's the future the activists want. They really do want to create this nightmare dystopia that we would, I don't, there's so many sci-fi movies about the future where the corporation controls everything. There's no more government. I love these stories where it's like the government voted to incorporate and now the shareholders run the country or whatever. How did the flip? What is this weird flip that the left is supporting previously libertarian positions like open borders? Still, many libertarians are for open borders and private police. It's the stupidest thing ever, but it's happening. Check it out. Georgia State Patrol headquarters vandalized during protest. Fireworks thrown inside spark fire. Vandals set off at least one firework inside the building and wrote "Death to America" in graffiti. Let me ask you. They're attacking police headquarters. They're burning down police departments. Are they burning down private security headquarters? Are they showing up to the offices of, say Securitas and doing anything? No, of course not. Are these rich people turning to the police? No, they're hiring private security. Is that the future these people want? It's not a future I think regular Americans are going to want. I'll tell you what though. You get rid of the police, who's going to enforce the gun laws? Then you're going to have a whole bunch of conservatives being like, you know what, fine. And they'll arm themselves and they'll protect themselves. And maybe that's what the far left really wants. Take a look at this story from Fox News. Atlanta protesters vandalized the Georgia State Patrol headquarters early Sunday. As many as 100 people, many dressed in black and wearing masks, marched outside the building around 1 a.m. The GSP said in an emailed statement. The agency described the group as protesters who carried rocks, fireworks, and spray paint. They're rioters, dude. They're vandalizing police headquarters. They're not protesting anything. Video footage from the scene shows a group of several dozen people outside the building and the sound of drums beating in the background. Several fireworks are set off. A loud bang is followed by a red flash from inside the building, where smoke can be seen through a glass window. Here's a video. They say, "So this just happened at GSPHQ. The drumming woke me up, but an otherwise peaceful protest was interrupted when 3, maybe 4 bad actors firebombed one of the offices." Oh, I love it. Don't you love it? The peaceful protesters were interrupted when peaceful protesters started throwing fire bombs at the police headquarters. Bad apples. When you dress in all black and march with them and you don't stop them, you are enabling and protecting these people as they attack a police station. A few people clad in black can be seen walking up to the window carrying what appears to be fireworks, the video shows. The GSP said fireworks thrown through a window of the building caused a small fire in an office. Department of Public Safety employees put out the fire, and 2 workers were treated for smoke inhalation. Kimberly Crowder, who recorded the video after the noise woke her up, said the protest appeared peaceful until 3 or 4 bad actors broke the window and firebombed the office. Oh, spare me your peaceful protest trash. Just because you have 50 people who aren't committing crimes and they're marching with and cheering with 5 people who start burning things down doesn't make it a peaceful protest. They love doing this. It was just some bad apples. All right, fine. I agree. You're right. It was just some bad apples who did this. And we shouldn't hold it against all of the peaceful protesters who simply wanted their peaceful message heard. Just like the police. When a few bad apples violate civil rights, we shouldn't condemn the peaceful and honorable police officers who keep our communities safe. Isn't that the obvious thing? Now, let me tell you the difference. When I get pulled over by a cop, and look, I'll tell you a story, man. I was once speeding, and I got pulled over, and I was speeding bad. This was like when I was 18. And the cop gave me this look, and he was like, "Come on, man." And I was like, "I know." And he's like, "I'm going to give you a warning." And I was like, "Thank you." And he's like, "Knock it off." And I'm like, "You got it." And that was the end of it. No more speeding. This was, I don't know, 16 years ago. And I was on a back, rural area. And I was like, I didn't think it mattered. I was going like 15 or 20 over. Yeah, I should have got a ticket. I got pulled over. I got my warning. It was a legit warning. I think he gave me a piece of paper about it. But that's good. That's good policing, right? I stopped after that. I learned my lesson. I was like, oh, I shouldn't do that. And that was a good cop. Gave me a stern look. I've also had cops save me. But more often than in any interaction, I've had negative experience with cops. And I'm still not stupid enough to think every single cop is bad. Of course, you've heard me say it. But let's do this. When I see a row of riot cops, okay? When I see 50 of them, and one cop lobs a flashbang grenade at a protester who's lying on the ground injured, they're all bad. Yeah, they're all bad. I'm sorry. I mean it. There was a story about this guy in Oakland. He's a veteran just standing up during the Occupy protests, and he got shot in the head with a tear gas can. And he went down. He got a concussion, got brain damage. And while people were rushing in to save this guy, one of the cops chucked one of their flashbangs into the crowd as they were trying to save this guy. To all the other cops who stood there and watched and allowed this stuff to happen, you are culpable. You are part of that group. You are not law-abiding, honorable police when your own officers do something like that. Now, I get it. If you accidentally hit, if you're in a riot situation, which is there's conflict and chaos, I get it. But you need to call this out. The department should have condemned this officer. They should have named this officer, but no, they protect him, just like the activists do. So I'm not going to sit here and defend any large group of people that's going to go out claiming they're doing the right thing, and then when people in their group do bad things, ignore it. This is not a peaceful protest. It's a violent riot. And the cops who, when just a small handful violate the civil rights of people, do it surrounded by their brothers and sisters in blue, and no one stops them, I'm not going to defend you. You are the same, okay? You need to call this out. I believe it was in D.C., I'm not sure. Remember this video? The Antifa guy starts hacking away at the ground, and the protesters pick him up and deliver him to the police. Awesome. Hold them accountable. Do the right thing. You want to block an intersection? You might not even get arrested, even though you're breaking the law, because we tolerate this to a certain extent. As for the cops, you see a cop breaking the rules, you stop him. And we've seen it. And I'm going to justify exactly what I'm saying about these police. There was a video during the George Floyd riots where 2 cops catch a rioter and put him down. One cop has his knee on his neck and people are yelling, get your knee off his neck. And the other cop grabs his knee and moves it. Bravo, good cop. I get it, man. Throw that rioter down, cuff him. Don't put your knee on his neck. You're going to make everything worse. And the other cop heard this and moved the cop's knee. It was that simple. Nobody's fighting. No one gets mad. You can do it. You can stop the bad stuff. And now I'll tell you this. For all the bad cops, I can criticize them. How many activists have turned in the rioters? For the most part, none. That one moment I can highlight. And for the police, that one moment I can highlight. We need to make sure we hold people accountable. We hold them to the standards we claim to want. But otherwise, look, man, these people who attack the cops, they're creating this world of private security. And that's what we're going to get. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all next time.